Do 335, the fastest propeller fighter plane. Though eclipsed by the age of jet propulsion, Germany's Dornier 335 fighter remains one of the world's most radical warplanes, boasting advanced flight characteristics and other advantages that give it a unique place in aviation history. The impact this remarkable aircraft might have had on the Third Reich's crucial battle for air supremacy, had it been produced in time to affect the outcome of the war, can easily be imagined as we trace the story of its development and performance. The Dornier 335, the Luftwaffe's last and best propeller-driven fighter. It was a state secret as it was designed, built, and tested by Dornier in the 40s. The Do 335, the fastest production model piston engine plane in the world, whose performance has still not been surpassed by any other propeller fighter. More than 40 of these planes were built and flown in the final months of the Second World War. In France, England, and the United States, the Do 335 was thoroughly retested, but only a single plane was preserved to this present day. In October of 1974, this once secret plunder of the Americans was returned as air freight to Germany. Lufthansa Transall brought the weathered former Wonder Weapon from New York via Frankfurt to Oberpfaffenhofen and back to the Dornier factory. Once more, a Do 335 was to be overhauled, rebuilt, and restored as a museum piece to be displayed in the Deutsches Museum in Munich as proof of a pioneering achievement in high-performance aircraft design. A unique airplane, unusual in its concept and appearance, extraordinary in its performance. It began in the 1920s when poor engine performance spurred Dornier to develop a more efficient power arrangement, the tandem engine concept. This idea was reinforced with the successful creation of the Dornier Wall series of seaplanes, and later the Do X, the heaviest aircraft of its day, with 12 Crystal Jupiter engines paired in 6 tandems. These famous seaplanes established many aviation performance records and proved the reliability of the tandem engine concept. Other Dornier seaplanes followed in the 1930s, such as the Do 18, in which for the first time the propeller of the rear tandem engine was driven by an extension of the crankshaft. In the mid-1930s, Dornier conceived of using the center-line thrust concept for the design of high-speed aircraft. In 1937, he was given a patent for this idea, on the basis of which he developed the P-5904 high-speed bomber. The P-5904 design had 2 motors in one fuselage, instead of 2 motors on the wings, tandem engines, 1 pulling propeller and 1 pushing propeller driven by an extension shaft. Through counter-rotation of the propellers, a balanced spin efficiency was achieved in the frontal slipstream, which resulted in a high-efficiency stabilizing performance, and with rapid displacement, an ideal nosedive braking effect could be achieved. With the power from both engines being delivered down the center line of the fuselage, it is possible to achieve a clean aerodynamic wing, permitting higher velocity by minimizing frontal resistance. At idling and open throttle, there are no moment alterations around the vertical axis. For one mode of flight, no more tail assembly corrections are required, and the rotation is normal. The danger of one engine failing during takeoff is thereby eliminated. It is possible to take off with only one engine. Convinced of the performance capability of the tandem engine design, Dornier contracted with Schempp to build the Göppingen Go 9. Now Dornier would be testing in practice what was developed in theory. Designed by Ulrich Hutter, the Go 9 was a Do 17 diminished in size to a scale of 1 to 2.5. It was powered by an 80-horsepower air-cooled engine driving a 4-bladed wooden air screw behind a cruciform tail by means of a long extension shaft. The Go 9 was first test flown early in 1940 with excellent results. The extension drive shaft operated without vibration, and the pusher air screw proved extremely efficient, propelling the plane to over 140 miles per hour in level flight. In 1942, the Reich's Air Ministry Technical Office invited competitive bids for a single-seat unarmed intruder capable of carrying an 1,100-pound bomb load at over 495 miles per hour. With its excellent Go 9 test results and Project 231 design proposal, Dornier was selected over Arado and Junkers as the winning contender. The designs are modified and changed into a fast, hard-hitting fighter. In the winter of 1943 to 44, the Do P231 is ordered as a heavy fighter plane. The model designation is Do 335. Besides the actual construction of the Do 335, extensive measurements and tests were carried out. Shown here is a model Do 335 in the wind tunnel of the Dornier factory. Taking measurements in the rotating wind tunnel, the model will be placed in a vertical airstream and left to spin by itself. Static tests of the strength of the fuselage, wing, and tail assembly. Technical vibration tests of the nose wheel landing gear on a test stand. Testing of a rear engine drive on a test stand. Functional testing of the hydraulic and electrical systems of a model in a large-scale tryout. Testing of the pilot ejection seat. In an emergency, the pilot is ejected from the plane together with his seat and parachute. The ground performance of the Do 335 is also tested with model planes. Simulations of normal and emergency belly landings on land. Simulated landing tests are also conducted on water. Rare scenes of the construction of the first Do 335 test model. Final ground tests. Only 9 months elapse after the placing of the order before the unusual plane begins its first flight in Mengen in the state of Württemberg, Germany. Claude Dornier himself is present to observe the historic first flight. Hans Dieterle, the pilot who flew an E-100 in 1939 to set the world speed record, is responsible for the overall testing. In a 1976 interview, Flight Captain Hans Dieterle recalls the historic moment. Yes, it was exciting because it was an airplane with 2 motors, with the second motor built into the fuselage. A long drive shaft was needed to install the rear propeller behind the tail unit. This was something new and perhaps dangerous. One was somewhat suspicious, because a propeller working behind the tail unit could produce vibration that might very quickly cause the plane to crash or break up. Fortunately, that did not happen. There were no such indications. When did you begin the testing? The first flight took place on October 26, 1943, and the complete testing took about a year. That is relatively a very short time, and it proves that it was very well constructed from the beginning. There were no insurmountable difficulties during the testing or with the achievement of the plane's highest performance. The subsequent flight testing in Reckland also ends with unequivocally positive results. The expected flying capabilities are attained and even surpassed. The Doe 335 at 478 miles per hour is not just very fast, it also proves easily maneuverable and reaches an altitude of 6,500 feet in 3 minutes and over 26,000 feet in 11 minutes. During simulated failures of one engine, a speed of over 342 miles per hour is maintained. With the rear engine only, the same good qualities are revealed. As soon as possible, 14 additional test planes are to be built and tested